everybody. Welcome to Teal's Roadhouse. Great to have y'all here with us. So we're winding down our year, so we thought it would be real cool to kind of go back and go over some old episodes and talk about some of the great guests that we've had out here on the podcast this year. So we are together in the bus, Teal's Roadhouse, with Lindsey, our illustrious producer, Derek, audio engineer, and the genius video guy, Scott Joyce. Yes.
Yay!
Scotty G. Scotty J. It needs to be Scotty J. Scotty J don't roll off the tongue real well.
Wile E. Coyote genius.
You
More like it.
You put yourself through a lot of hell, don't you?
Oh, heck yeah. A lot.
Oh, so this has been a great year. We've had a lot of amazing artists on here. Lindsey, give us a rundown of all the people we've had on the show this year.
Yes. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me look at
All
my
the stuff
files.
is in your way.
Yeah.
So what have we had? What are we on episode number? What
we just did 66.
Yeah, 66, and we got a couple more we're going to be wrapping up tomorrow.
Yes.
So that will be finishing up with 68, 69, counting this one. So we've had 60. But that's all from the last 2 years. That's not all of this year.
Right. Yeah, we've had a lot of guests, and this year we've had just like a rundown. We had Ryan Upchurch, Brantley Gilbert, Zack, Dylan Carmichael, Maddie and Tay, Wade Bowen, Co Wetzel, Ella Langley, Gavin Adcock, Marcus King, Mark Wills, Lily Rose, Old 60, Brian Martin, Terri Clark, Joe Stampley, Dylan Scott, May Estes, Drew Parker, Riley Gaines.
Are you nervous?
Should I say the rest?
You look
of them?
nervous.
No, I'm not nervous. I just felt like I felt like I was reading this and I was like, does anybody care?
Oh yeah. Well, they all
That's good refresher.
Jordan Davis, Walker Montgomery, and then we'll have Uncle Cracker and Cletus Judd.
Cletus T.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So over the last 2 years, I mean, Lindsey does a lot of the editing with Kylie. So
Yes.
give a shout out to Kylie, who's not with us. But have y'all seen this thing evolve over the last 2 years? I think we've made great progress as far as our production, the quality, and the look of the whole show. I think we've made progress.
A lot of progress. Even we get noticed like after the shows. I have people coming up to me and say, "Hey man, are you here with Tracy Lawrence?" Well, yeah. You're a junior, ain't you? I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? What did I do? And, no, man, we love the podcast. So I've noticed that quite a bit here lately.
We had a venue give us decorated cookies, and somewhere just up the podcast logo. I have a picture of us going.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool, you know?
Yeah,
it's
I
part
had
of the brand.
A runner recognized me. It's an odd feeling being famous.
For a podcast. Something I never thought we'd be doing.
It really is kind of strange when people know who you are, but you have never met them before. You know?
Yeah. I think we need to do, I know we got some caps that we're going to start integrating in and some T-shirts. I think we ought to do some giveaways to our followers out there some next year. I want to get a Teal's Roadhouse done that matches the cap that we've got and start interacting with you folks out there a little bit more. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, we should definitely do that because you have a big following for the podcast. Like everybody, it goes up on Wednesdays, and then it's like we've kind of trained everybody to listen and get excited about it. So it's nice. I feel like...
I'm surprised too. I mean, the podcast, the whole world of podcasts is really kind of taking priority over a lot of other things. I think it's squeezing a lot of mainstream media out of the way. And, we try not to get political or anything on this. This is kind of just a feel-good stuff and getting to know the different artists and different things and the people that we encounter in the music business and people within the industry. But, I'd like to see us evolve out and get to some other things and talk with people from different disciplines of life. I think there's some really interesting people out there, and I'd like to kind of suss out some of those other avenues. Sometimes they might work, sometimes they might not.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
They
It's a
don't.
fun mystery. It's actually weird because when we first started doing the podcast and I reach out and ask to, for people to come on here and to book it, everybody kept referring to us as long form media. And I was like, what are you talking about? We're not media. We're sitting down, you're shooting the shit with Tracy Lawrence, and it's a lot of fun. We learn about your journey. And then it hit me. I was like, oh my God, we're a media outlet. And I'm not used to that because we're not a normal media outlet. We're like a cool media outlet. We're a fun media outlet.
Can I get credentials? Can I get in backstage at award shows with those?
Yeah, exactly, right? See us next time on the red carpet.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. And so now I feel like we have a good grasp on what we're doing. And then like you said, now we can kind of branch out to some really interesting people.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Is there anything, as y'all have kind of grown through this process, Scott? Do you anything that you would like to see change, or anything that we might improve on next year from your perspective?
Well, I know we've already talked about this a little bit, but just having some ability to have call-in guests.
Yep, that's definitely on the
great.
list of things. And so, like, for example, if we have an artist that's out on tour with somebody and we can't get both of them in or whatever, we could be able to do a call-in for a short segment to kind of interact that way. I think that would add a little bit more depth to what we're doing here.
It'd be cool if we could do a Zoom thing too.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that be able to Zoom and everything. I mean, be able to Zoom in content and everything. And I think we have the capability to do that here. We just need to figure out the patch cable situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't use the computer.
Don't let Lindsay do it.
Don't let me in charge of the technology.
So the first guest that we had this year, who was our very first guest?
Ryan Upchurch.
Ryan Upchurch.
Yes. That was a fun one. Okay.
It was, and got a lot of views too. What was our total?
ton.
I mean,
Let's look.
Let's look and see what we had our total number on the views. I mean, he was one of our bigger podcasts. I mean, he's got a massive following. Very interesting guy. What do they call his?
The Creekers?
Creek Squad.
Creek Squad.
Creek Squad.
Yeah.
Creek Squad.
That's right.
And Holler Boys.
The Hollaback Boys.
Holler Boys.
Yeah.
The
Not Holler Back, that's no doubt.
Oh yeah, I know that. Ain't no hollaback boy.
Oh my God.
He should cover
Is that what Blake Shelton calls himself these days? Boy, they would be fun to get on the
We should get
podcast.
Blake.
So much
Blake-
Blake is hilarious.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We should go out to
Yeah.
Oklahoma or wherever he lives in.
The bus goes through there on a
It
regular
goes in
basis.
there.
We could just zoom him in there when we
That's true.
Yeah.
We've learned how to do that.
if he feels like he don't want to come out here.
Ryan Upchurch, that episode has 186,000 views on YouTube alone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many different platforms are we covering out there? See, this is stuff that I never asked, so I don't know. Where all can people find us?
That's a really great question. I'm glad you asked. No. Okay. YouTube is probably one of our largest platforms. That it's just a lot of fan base there. And then we're on all the DSPs. You can find us on Apple Music. You can find us on Spotify, on Amazon. I mean, you can find us anywhere you can download like a podcast. You can find us. So we're on it.
Yeah.
We're on it all.
Mm-hmm.
Are there going to be do you think there's going to be award shows for podcasts before it's over
Think-
with?
I think they will.
Maybe not award
Yeah.
shows, but they do give out awards.
Yeah.
Are they like billion stream plaques and stuff like that?
Well, wait till next year.
We got a long way to go, Joe Rogan.
He didn't get famous overnight.
It takes a while. It's
Yeah,
a journey.
He was grinding
Yeah.
for like 10 years, probably, I believe. Yeah.
But this is such a fun way to approach things, and I think it's giving us an opportunity to get to know a lot of these artists that I wouldn't be able to get to know. I mean, they're in a different generation from me. I mean, I see them in passing, but this is giving us a way to get to know a lot of these young people, which I think is very
sure.
cool.
Is that kind of what made you want to start doing this?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. One reason I was doing the radio show, and I'm talking to older acts like legacy artists and everything, and I couldn't do anything current because we were in so many markets that it would affect the charts. So they kept pushing me away from all that. So I really wanted the freedom to be able to have guys like Joe Stampley that I could have on the radio show, and guys like Ryan Upchurch that aren't even on the radio format that have their own cult following and things that do what they do. I really wanted to branch out and be able to do things in a long format like this. This is a whole different way to do media. It really is.
Yeah, we're media. Again, that was
guess.
the first part I had to figure out.
Yeah. So Ryan, 100 how many thousand?
186,000.
I would like to see a clip of something that's interesting. I think Lindsay's worked on pulling some things up for us.
Okay, this one had, just so everyone knows, this podcast, we were very well aware of Ryan Upchurch.
Yeah.
And so we had talked about it, we tossed it, but we weren't sure exactly, trying to get through the first season and second season and stuff like that. But I had the hardest freaking time tracking him down. I could not get in touch with him. And he doesn't have a publicist, and he has a manager, but I didn't know who it was. And I tried everything. I was like calling like people that I hadn't talked to in years, like, hey, did you ever work with him a couple of years ago? But we had another episode actually with Kidji on it, and you mentioned Ryan Upchurch's name, and he saw the clip and he commented, and then I was like, digital team, go, go, go. And then he messaged you back.
I think we should get him back on the show again next year for an
We
episode.
should.
I think there's I'd love to have Jelly Roll back. And,
Yeah, that'd be
and
cool.
Laney Wilson. I mean, Laney's life has changed since we had her on the podcast 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Jelly Rolls.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think it'd be interesting to have some follow-ups with some of these folks next year.
When Jelly was on here, he mentioned, he said, and with the success of Son of a Sinner, I was like, wait a minute, dude. Like, I love you, Jelly. I haven't even heard that song. So then, obviously, now we're all aware of it. But like when he was on the podcast at that time, I had never heard "Son of a Sinner."
Yeah.
And I hate to admit that because I was working with Jelly at
Well, he was
Centerport
pretty
like
underground.
2013.
Everybody down on Lower Broad knew who he was, though.
Mm-hmm.
You talk to any of the songwriters, any of the young talent in town, they all knew who he was. 2 years ago. Yeah. And so pretty cool. All right.
Here's the highlights from Right Upchurch.
Hey, bro, y'all hear Uncle Tracy, bro? Y'all better step y'all's game up. The main thing that I've realized is don't trust anybody, trust your gut. And to trust your gut, you got to keep your gut instinct as natural as possible. It really is cool to me to sit here with somebody like you and talk about music in general. I just wanted to say that.
I've been to some shows where if something went wrong with the computer and the band shut down and that vocal's still playing and nobody else is there,
They're the ones paying for the tickets. They're the ones buying the merch. They're the ones listening to the music. They're the ones getting us to where we're at. So it's only right to be real and do them right.
I gotta wait for a few more people to die before I tell all my stories.
The first time I ever met him, he was breaking a horse when I got to his house. I was like, bro. And he was dressed up all nice like Elvis. I was like, damn, bro, he's doing vocals, man. Damn.
He's talking about Clay Walker there. I remember.
Oh, okay.
He's an interesting guy. He's one of those guys that he's very knowledgeable about the space that he lives in. He's very engaged with his fan base, a lot more than a lot of people in the business are.
Yeah.
I mean, he understands the lane that he's in and how to navigate those waters. I think he's an interesting guy.
He is interesting. And, my husband's been a fan of Right Upchurch forever. Like, he's like one of the, not underground, like he's not a creekster or anything. I mean, I wouldn't say he is. But he loves his music.
creekster?
Or whatever.
Hollow Boy.
I like
Sorry, Right Upchurch. But he always like puts them on in the cart. Like, we'll be going wherever and he'll put them on the cart. So I'm pretty familiar with him. But following his socials are wild. And I mean, they're cool. Like I'm just, the fact that he actually like does investigation on a couple of the topics he talks about. I mean, I don't know where he's investigating it for sure, but it's cool. I don't know. It's like there's more depth to him, I guess is what I'm saying.
There really is. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. So I think that would be a great person to have back as a guest next year. Who's next on the list?
We have Mr. Brantley. I'm sorry.
Brantley Gilbert.
Brantley Gilbert. Here, we'll watch the highlight here.
That was fun.
Just had a baby, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah. On his tour bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
What?
can talk
At
about
his
that.
show.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Holy crap.
Songs that I wrote were country because that's the only life I knew. I've never written a song about something I didn't understand or been through. So they all ended up country.
He talks kind of like Kendall. Our driver.
Yeah, he
By
kind
the time I
of
was old enough to go to shows, I was playing them.
Cultural thing.
It's cultural. We're talking about culture today. There's some cultural mother in here. Do not get it twisted.
I like being a little anonymous.
I feel like I'm entering the crotchety old man phase of life early. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am one step away from screaming at people for driving fast.
And she came up to me and she said, I really wish you would, when you do your show, would you roll your sleeves down so we don't have to look at that?
Well, that's kind of cool. You mean I don't have to do illegal to make ends meet? I can do music.
He's kind of an intimidating, imposing guy, but he's really a very highly intelligent and hardworking guy. He's done really well for himself. So you didn't know about this, but it's only been like a month or so ago. They had I guess a midwife with him on the road. He's on stage. She's 9 months pregnant on the bus. And she has the baby, starts to have the baby while he's on stage. She's in the bus with the whole thing going on. He stops the show, goes out there, catches the baby, comes back in, finishes the show.
That is awesome.
I mean, how cool is that?
That is
How'd you like to
awesome.
come into the world like that? That beats born in the back of a cab any day of the
I
week.
bet that crowd went crazy for
Oh,
that,
they
too.
did. It was
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
The fact that he
great.
went back out there,
Yeah.
like, holy cow, like,
Well, his work was done.
I know, right? That's right.
What else is he going? It's going to be a little bit.
Oh, what if he had brought the baby out like Mufasa?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'd have done. I'd have done.
Brought the baby out.
That would have been
Lion King.
awesome. Because I christened thee.
Oh my gosh.
That's
That would
really
be
cool.
funny.
I've never heard of that ever happening to anybody
That's
else.
Wait, is this weird for you
No.
to like watch yourself? I mean, y'all aren't in
Watching
as
my
much as
fat gut with that button open.
That's
like
why I
that was
just
damn weird.
readjusted myself. I'm like, oh,
I've lost some
God,
weight since then. Yeah, watching my fat ass roll around up here in the front line of the bus. Yeah, it's damn uncomfortable.
Do I have to edit that? Because
No,
that's pretty great.
no, you don't. I don't give a shit. I'm old.
Oh my
I'm
god.
trying to do better.
Well, it's like y'all see yourself on stage though a lot. Like y'all see each other on things. So I don't know. Sometimes when you like rewatch, I don't know, your videos, do you ever get weirded out?
I hate to hear myself talk.
Me too. I was about to
Yeah,
say
And I've
okay.
told you that before. That's
Yeah,
why
you
I really
have.
don't go back and watch a
Watch
lot of
them.
this stuff. Because I'm fine with hearing myself sing in the studio. I've critiqued that enough for years, and I know how to step myself out of my own mind and do the task at hand. But I hate to hear myself talk. I sound so freaking country.
Well,
Because I guess I am.
okay. Episode 3 of season 2 was Zack Top. Like
It's been that long. That was 8 months ago.
Golly.
Wow.
he's so cute. I just love him.
He drinks whiskey. I like him.
Yeah, sure.
He country. Well, from Washington, but country.
Yeah,
I
actually,
know
it was
they had
from
them up there.
Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
There's
out.
rednecks everywhere. I didn't realize that till my first time in Indiana.
There's rednecks in
there-
Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You get out of them 2 big cities they got, and it's
Yeah.
redneck.
When you flip to the dial and it's my song playing, you're undeniably on the country station. So I seen you're up 7.2 thousand followers on Instagram since last week when we talked, and I seen your Spotify monthly listeners are up a little bit too. Yeah, we didn't have no dang Xbox. The TV was a sin unless it was a Mariners game or Lori Doo on Fox News.
Lord,
If you
yeah, we
wind
looked
up
her up.
with the wrong people and you get forced to cut a bunch of stuff that you don't really care about that's
Yeah.
not in you, probably going to have a hit with it, and then you're going to be stuck with it for the rest of
Yeah,
your life.
exactly. You got to play that for the next 30
You gotta
years.
play it. Oh, an old greasy cell barn cheeseburger.
Oh,
on
yeah.
a greasy griddle, man. There's just something special about it.
My daddy wasn't making my mama do nothing. She's a good cook, and if he didn't like it, he better learn to like it.
Having some traditional country music in a new generation is pretty freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that was 8 months ago.
I
crazy.
know.
I mean, that was such a long time. It was way early in the year. But you know what? It brings joy to my heart that traditional country music is coming back in play. And we've had several young artists on the show this year that are really on the forefront of bringing really good traditional country songs back. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and you showed me somebody today I wasn't aware of that the same thing.
Yeah, a girl named Belle
Belle.
France, very, very traditional singer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old she is. I don't really know her whole story. Can't really find anything on Spotify of her just yet. I think she's just getting rolling because everything I'm hearing on her is just her doing some cover tunes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's right.
But
right
she
there.
sings. She don't sing. She sings.
Sang.
Sangs.
She sings good. Zack, what a talented guy he is. Washington State boy. Just a phenomenal musician. And he's been out with Laney. Mm-hmm. Been out with Laney. So I'm sure that's going to freaking awesome.
Did y'all see that video the other day? He was, I think it was a TikTok thing, and it said, we finally caught Zack Top on film saying, "I'm fucked up." He was playing, I think it was 2 Dozen Roses. I think he said, "I fucked up," like he missed a note.
Yeah.
But everybody online saying, "I'm fucked up." Now, he may have been fucked up. I don't know.
Can't be sure.
He's a talented
Yeah, he's
guy. I
awesome.
think he's going to do really well. And our friend Carson Chamberlain produced him. You know, I write with Carson and those guys a lot. So I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. I think it's going to be
Ooh.
awesome.
I can't wait for a duet or not a duet, like a collab with.
And he's
That'd be
got
so
a
cool.
hell of a mustache too.
He
He's got a
does.
mustache. Got the good
got a
porn
good
stash
stash.
going on.
Got a good stash. I love that. He's so sweet.
I used to wear my mustache like that
I think it's where we probably got it from.
back in the good old days.
Until they sent him a letter that was like,
Yeah, the cease and desist. I got a patent on that. Nobody has the patent on that but Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, yeah.
Dale Earnhardt had the stash, and our stage manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirk.
Kirk usually comes to the Halloween party dressed as Dale Earnhardt because, I mean, he's got the stash.
You think he's back from the dead?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
he looks
seriously.
just like him. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He just had a grandbaby, and he said, "Yeah, I believe he's gonna sprout his mustache here in about 2 weeks."
That's awesome, man. Oh, Dylan
right.
Carmichael is our next one. We had Dylan on a while back.
Love him. He's awesome.
40,000 people are looking at you and screaming at you all at the same time. I mean, it rattles all the way down to your soul. And you looked at me. I said, "Man, I appreciate the out of you." And then I'm like, "Hey, can we do like some more Tom stuff right there?" He's like, "Yeah, what are you thinking?" And I'm like,
I mean, living on a bus is almost like a form of incarceration, though. You know, except you can drink.
sometimes I hate saying that when people ask.
So what is? I'm trying to remember. Dylan is related to T. Roy and Eddie, or just
Eddie was
Eddie.
his uncle, I think.
Eddie was his uncle by
Eddie was
marriage, so he's not kin to John Michael. I think he's. I think that's the connection. But they're kind of becoming a family dynasty.
Oh, that's
Man.
wild.
It really is. We need to get John Michael on the show before he retires.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we need to get John Michael on the show. John Michael and Eddie both. We hadn't had Eddie on the podcast either.
But Dylan Carmichael's so nice. I guess I didn't realize his, or y'all probably know this. His eyes are like so beautiful in person. Did y'all see that?
I didn't look that deep
They're like
into his eyes,
beautiful.
Lizzie.
I was more distracted by that deep voice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Right, me too. Well, he has dark hair, so when somebody has like bluer eyes,
And it's curly. Oh.
it-
You ever notice how every dude in that family has like the deepest voices, and they all sing their asses off?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
They're going to be a dynasty.
Yeah.
They'll just come down here and take over. Yeah.
All right, Wade Bowen.
Texas.
I'm having more fun playing music right now with our show, more fun recording, more fun writing than I ever have in my life.
How do you view yourself?
I like to classify myself as an artist from Texas. You know,
So we have a mutual friend. He told me that you've never beat him in golf.
oh God, sounds like Randy Rogers.
Who's that? Yeah,
I mean, it's so funny. For a guy that is awful at golf as he is, he sure talks a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Actually, I went sandhill crane hunting this year for the first time ever, and that was a blast.
Sandhill Crane. Okay.
Sounds illegal.
And I know you really admire them and their music, especially because, you know, they could keep their band together and you couldn't. And the whole crowd went, He's like that Cologne from Anchorman, you know, 60% of the time, he's telling the truth every time.
Panther piss.
Yes, that's right.
He's one of those fascinating guys. A lot of great talent down in Texas. I mean, my career broke down there, so I've played every skull orchard that you can name on the planet. We've all been through all those bars. Yeah. So these guys, I mean, what a great artist he is. Him and Randy Rogers, a lot of those guys are really getting a lot more on the national stage now and recording more stuff in Nashville now, which I really didn't realize. It was kind of news to me. I thought a lot of guys were still cutting down in Texas. So they're integrating into the system here.
It surprised me too because I love talking a little bit of smack to my girlfriend because she's from Texas. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they just ain't got it figured out like Nashville does. You listen to those Nashville records, and you listen to those down there. It's just, you know, we're a little grittier. They don't have it figured out yet. And then he said he records up here. I'm like, oh shit, I lost that argument now. But.
Well, it's funny because I feel like when Randy was on the podcast, I don't remember if we asked Wade that. You said, like, is there a difference between Texas country and country? And they're like, no. And I'm like, everybody always says Texas country, you know? So it is kind of cool seeing them coming back to Nashville a little bit and integrating because I know Texas is proud.
Oh, yeah.
As they should be.
The way that I understand it is that it's not like, it's very popular in Texas, but it's not, you know, stuff you hear on the radio.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, but they do get a lot of airplay in Texas, which is why a lot of those guys have been able to command a bigger dollar and they draw bigger crowds in Texas because they have their own Texas chart and everything.
That's true.
And you got to be down there to be on the Texas chart. I mean, it doesn't get the saturation of the national charts and stuff, but with social media and the internet these days, you can take that and parlay it into other things. And other guys like, Daryl Dodd, and God, there's a whole list of guys down there that we've worked with over the years. I mean, just tons of them. But it's pretty fascinating. It's interesting.
Paul something, wave on wave guy.
Oh, that's Pat Green.
Pat Green.
Pat Green.
And Texas kind of acts like, you know, Canada, like Canadian artists. You never really hear about Canadian artists until they come to America.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that. I see that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, kind of. It's in its own thing.
Yeah.
Canada's a lot bigger.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. It's like Terri Clark. We talked about this some when we talked to her about being in the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking to the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville, they don't have near the population or saturation of that country as what they have down here in the United States.
Yeah.
Much bigger touring market. Able to work the country on a different level down here. But I'm telling you what, some of these guys, you can work in Texas for the rest of your life if you want to play clubs and stuff and just go through that rotation. I mean, there's so many places to play down there.
Well,
I know every time an offer comes through, I'm like, what part of Texas is this? Tracy was just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we get lots of offers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah. We'll go to Maddie and Tay.
Can we tell the real story?
Let's tell we've never told the real story.
Well, I want to
We're
hear the
gonna
real
tell
story. Yeah.
We're all crazy, but like our crazies weren't really meshing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Our
like,
crazies.
Our crazies were meshing, yeah. We get very protective of not just new female artists, but new artists in general. We try to reach out as soon as possible when things start taking off.
Always.
I mean, I could go outside with a pack of firecrackers and some Green Army men and spend hours blowing up.
Oh, yeah.
there's so many good quotes.
The ones that burn the crap out of your
Yes.
mouth.
I don't even
Yeah.
set the timer on those bad boys. I just wait till they pop.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something to
Absolutely.
share.
Yes.
And this is not a bed of roses that any of us are walking through.
No.
When whenever the record label is giving you trouble, he's like, I just walk into the record label and I just go and walk out. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh. They're so funny.
They really are very talented young ladies. Tay, she's like right there ready to have her baby.
Bet that baby is coming
That baby
for
coming.
sure.
Oh yeah.
I thought she was having it back when we did.
No, she was like 6 months along. I mean, she was.
CMA Fest, she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She was showing, but she wasn't showing
yeah.
a lot.
She,
Now she big. I saw her at the CMA dinner the
Yeah.
other night, and she's
Yeah.
like ready to drop.
Yeah. They were our first duo. We
That's
had
right.
to figure out a whole setup for that.
We had to update the console and the camera package,
switcher.
and we had to do the switcher and everything. And now we're actually set up where next year we're able to actually accommodate trios and some larger groups and stuff. So like we're sitting here right now, we'll be able to handle this plus you guys back there. So we've kind of upped our game plan a little bit. Maddie, tell what's going on with them with their career right now. I mean, since they work with the management company that I'm on, which is what you do.
Yeah, that's my day job.
That's your day job.
The girls they had just put out an EP in September. They had a collab with Dolly Parton that came out.
Nice.
And then they announced a show, their first headline show at the Ryman. And then they went ahead and announced major city markets other than Nashville, like New York, LA, Chicago. So they're going to go out in the springtime and do that and consistently putting out music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very interesting young ladies and a bright future ahead of them as well.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Next, we have Mr. Co Wetzel.
And I just remember being on the bed and looking over and strumming it and it just being a sea full of people, you know. And now I look out in the crowd and that's kind of how it is. Always being on stage, and I feel like that's where I live and die.
He's an interesting guy too, and I've made several references to him with other guests that we've had on this year. But just because of the path that he's gone down, being somewhat of an independent artist when he got rolling, now he's filling up arenas and doing real serious hard ticket sales out there, and just now really starting to hear. I mean, you don't hear a lot of him on the radio. I mean, he really doesn't have a lot of radio coverage out there. I'm starting to hear more of it. It's starting to move in that direction, but he's kind of done this his own way, which gives you a lot of hope for a lot of the young artists. The independent artists that we talk to along this road. It's pretty interesting to watch how it all happens these days.
Yeah, it was cool because you just said like he's wild, but then when he came in here, he was like, "Yeah, and I've done that, and that's me, but this new album is going to be more like could be more for radio." Yeah. And I thought it was interesting because like everybody, I guess like as an artist, you want your different like goals, and some want to be on radio and some don't. But it's just kind of cool how he figured out a way to tweak it.
Yeah, and sometimes you can catch backlash. So, like guys like Pat Green and some of those Texas artists, when they came to Nashville and, they had a little bit of mainstream success, all those core fans get mad at you because you've left the independent playing field. So it's kind of a challenge to navigate through that. But he seems to be doing really well. He's doing real serious numbers out there. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's a really cool example. You do bring him up a good bit, I think, because
he's one of those positive references. Just what we've learned from doing this, it gives a lot of people hope that you don't have to go into the major label system to be successful. Right. At least get a foundation up underneath you where you have a little bit more creative control of your own life.
Like, yeah. We get leverage.
Who we got next?
Next we have Ella Langley. And you and Ella and Riley were on tour, and y'all actually did this one on the road.
Yes.
Which was cool. That's the cool thing about the podcast is you can do that.
Certain people in the crowd, I'm like, I'm going to get you to bob your head by the end of this damn set if it's the last thing I do. I got dropped off in a tour bus. Right off the tour bus, walked right in the airport. I was like, this is rock star. I mean, the mail lady would come over and we'd be in the back room and my grandparents would be like, you want to hear Ella sing?
And just when you think you've got it figured out, something will change.
Something will change.
Because they were still making cassettes when I got my record deal in the early '90s.
Hey, can we just go to Shoney's down the street? Is that if I can get in there?
I went for years where I literally had to have my teeth worked on several times because I would play drums with my teeth at night and I was grinding my teeth down. The music never stops.
Yeah, I feel educated.
That's scary. We're educating you. We have a serious problem here. She is a fascinating young lady and very talented. Got to spend some time with her out on the road. And a lot of you folks out there, most of our tapings I have a place that I park my coaches and stuff here at the house. Most of them, when we have to set up all the gear every time we do these podcasts. So a lot of them we try to do a couple of days at a time. So we have multiple artists coming in. So we don't have to set it up and tear it down and pack everything up. But this was one of those things. It was the end of the tour and we'd been trying to nail everything, getting Ella on the podcast and everything. So we wound up just doing this one on the road. So it's still in the same space, carrying all the stuff with us. So it was one of those things. Glad we got that and taken care of. Her career has shot off since we had her. She was opening up for me. We were out with Riley Green. Ella was first. And then me, and then Riley. We did like 28 shows, at least the ones I was on, 28 shows, March, April, May. And there was a few, I think they did a couple other weekends that I couldn't be a part of, but that was really a launching pad for her. Now she's got to do it out with Riley. I think that I haven't seen the whole thing, the Smokey and the Bandit video that they did together. So she's really getting some traction out there.
Yeah, she went. So, that song really... It's all about a song.
Yeah, it's all about a song.
But and she's so talented anyway. But
and
that really,
country. Love it.
She just has a sold out tour too. I think she has our current tour sold out, and I think I hope I didn't get this wrong. I think she announced a tour for next year, and it's already sold out.
Really? She headlining her own stuff, or she going back out with Riley? I didn't know if she was going back out with that or not. Since they've done a couple of projects together, I didn't know.
I mean, who knows? Nothing's been announced. So, but I think in the beginning of the year she's doing her own for sure, and it's already sold out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Should be interesting to come back maybe the latter part of next year after she gets done with her first headlining tour like that, because her life's changed a lot like what Laney's did. I mean, when we were out with Laney in the early 2020, and then where she's at now, she's up in the stratosphere these days.
That one is interesting because everybody says it's a 10-year town. And except for Tracy Lawrence, that doesn't count. He's like one of the first exceptions to the rules. For that was like a year, maybe. 7 months. Who's counting? But there's even like Laney always says, like, I've been here for X amount of years and this and this. Ella, I believe, had only been in town for like 5 years. But it's
still a long freaking time.
It's still a long time. But when looking at like some of these other artists, you're like, holy shit, you've been around for a minute. But
I think it's getting harder and harder to get separation from the pack. You got to have something. You either got to be really good looking, or you got to be really talented, or have some angle on things, and then you still got to get discovered by the right person that's going to buy into you.
Yeah,
because there's so much talent. I mean, you just go through downtown. It's like they're talented, and it's like there's only so much room.
Yeah,
there really is.
Yep. No, you're right.
Yeah.
The next one is Mr. Gavin Adcock.
Running my head up under somebody's jaw and throwing them in the backfield and making them feel little. It should go gold by the end of the year.
That's awesome.
It'll be my first song I ever let out. I said, y'all didn't make JV baseball in high school. Y'all ain't hit me yet. And then they started throwing them at me.
Everybody seems to be from Georgia these days, man. What's in the water down there?
Liquor.
Liquor. And it just so happened that when I fell off the stage, I was working with Ronnie Millsap. He didn't fall off the stage.
And it'd be multiple choice, and he'd tap A, 2 taps for B. And
the 90s were good because there were no cell phones yet. I mean, we were pretty wide open back then. It was a lot of fun.
There wasn't no getting in trouble.
Yeah, we still found a way to get in a little bit of trouble. Just so y'all know, I'm not allowed to wear that particular shirt on the podcast anymore because Lindsey says it makes my face look too red. So I got chastised about that. And anytime I bring it out, I get in trouble. Just so you know, I just want to share that with you.
You know what? It was really good while it lasted.
Now I got crap all over where I've worked in the yard in, and it's got dirt and stuff stains all over. So I can't wear it anymore. It's been reallocated.
Yeah.
So Gavin's an interesting guy too. You know, I've followed some of his stuff. We were just in Billy Bob's down in Fort Worth the other night, and the footage that I saw of Gavin jumping off the stage and destroying a couple of tables that were there, breaking them in half. And
Did you talk to Gallagher about it?
I did.
What did he say?
You know, they've remodeled a bunch of stuff. He said, you know what, he puts on a great show, and the crowd was really into it. He says, small price. You know, it is what it is.
That's
but
cool.
he likes to stir the stuff. It's like he approaches his show like full contact football game. That's the way I look at it. Because when you sit down and talk to him, I mean, he has a huge sports background. I mean, he was an exceptional athlete. So I think he's one of those guys that that's the way it translates to him. It's a full contact freaking sport to his ass.
And asking for it from the crowd, like, hell, y'all ain't hit me yet.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh,
JV
and I've seen
baseball.
footage of people hitting him in the head with beer cans. I mean, some of them made him open. You know how hard that shit is?
I saw one where he better go there and whoop some old boy's ass, he said. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I believe he could probably do it.
I think he can probably hold his own.
Oh,
yeah,
my
he's
gosh.
pretty interesting, and he's having a huge run right now too. It's going to be interesting to see how far this thing runs before. You know, you never know. I mean, that's a lot of drama out there. It could be interesting to see what happens.
I love it. I love it.
What's fun too sometimes with the guests is it spurs an old memory of yours that I hadn't heard.
Oh yeah. That's scary.
So I'm talking about Ronnie Millsap.
Gets down
there.
to the deep crevices in my
It really
mind.
does.
Some of them need to be left buried down in there.
Lord.
Shall we move on?
Lord. All right, Marcus King.
I have to pee so bad.
Okay. Beep. Marcus King.
The guitar became an extension of me. I'd sit and play it. Anytime I was sitting still, I was playing the guitar. But they didn't know I was late to school or sleeping in class because I'd been out playing the night before so I could make some money to, help my mother with her bills. I'm gonna go be bad at something for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't sound fun to me.
You get your feelings hurt real quick. Even by your wife.
You can't. Nobody's gonna know I'm in that building unless they know I'm in that building. Yeah. So I'm gonna drive this old Cadillac, this big Cadillac with a Continental kit on it, and then they'll know I'm around.
Really good poets can be some of the strangest people on the planet. And I've had the privilege.
Like pedal steel players.
Oh my God, that was so good.
He's, I'm a fan of that guy. And I'm a fan of, 99.9% of the people that we have on here. I mean, there's a lot of talented people. Yeah. But I discovered him on the internet a few years ago. I mean, before anybody really was even talking about Marcus King. And I just find him very fascinating. I'm a huge blues fan. And I'm glad we were able to get him on here. He's going to do great things. I mean, he's such a talented guy. Yeah. I really think he is. Like to find more guys like that are moving in a different vein. That's a lot of fun for me because there's still a lot of similarities. I mean, we're all just stupid, crazy musos, man.
One thing about that podcast, I asked him what his live acoustic chain is, like meaning what he plugs his guitar into to get to the ears for those that don't know.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, big time nerds. But he never answered my damn. He's man, people at LR Bags and Fishman's been good. So, well, no shit. That's the only two brands there are out there for pickups. So, like, acoustic guitar pickups, I'm saying. So, yeah, he never answered my question. So, I'm still chasing it.
We need to nail him down again.
I guess so.
Then.
Yeah, we're going to have to Lindsey get him.
We only need you to come for this one question.
Answer Derek's question, please.
We don't care about anything else. No, he's a good one.